Hi everybody. This is the last but probably not the least for this entire tutorial. In this session, we'll deal with permissions. Now, there are a couple of things that we don't want people to do. For example, they shouldn't be able to create orders themselves. They should only be able to pass in the course they want to buy and have the action flow, in this case, the create order action flow to create the order for them. Otherwise, they could create an order that's like 1 cent to buy a product that's like $25, right? So that is definitely not what we want. Okay, so how do we do that? So Moment's permission system is both role based, role as in the role of a user. So in here you have a list of roles, you can add your own roles, but we're not going to do that. It's not quite useful here. And it can be, you can have like what we call RLS, role level security. In this case, the role is ROW. So it's unfortunate both of them sound exactly the same. So we'll go through each table and decide what a user can do. Now, for account, maybe we just want them to look at their own account. I don't really want them to look at anyone else's account. So we'll turn on read permission for all the columns. These are the columns. And then we'll add a filter. So the filter here is for the logged in user's ID to be equal to the ID of the query data. The query data being a particular role in account table. Okay, so that ensures that they can only look at their own account. We will get rid of a lot of the editing choices, so we'll not let them change their username. They won't be able to set the canceled state. They won't be able to change their phone number or email, and again, they should only be able to edit their own account. So in this case, the update before update data's ID is the same as the updated data's ID, but since IDs they're non-changing, it's the same thing. So that does it. Okay. And the count here means whether you can aggregate over accounts. We don't really care if they are able to count. And same with sum, average, and max and min. Authors, should an average user be able to create an author? No. Should they edit? No. Should they delete? No. Count? No. Turn them all off. And do we need role level security? No, because every single author should be read by everybody else. Message content is a system created table and it's used for AI. In this case, nobody needs access to it, so we'll turn it off, and no count, no nothing. Account has course, very important. Nobody should be able to create account has course unless you're going through an action flow and triggered by a payment callback. So they should not be able to create it. They should not be able to edit it. They should not be able to delete it. No count. Actually, you should be able to count it. The reason being we have this thing here. How many learners? That's counting the number of rows in account has course with corresponding course ID. So that should be here. Max min, we don't need that. And do they need all this? I mean, sure. Doesn't hurt. Conversation, again, a system defined table for AI. No need to be able to count or do anything. Take away all that. And then in terms of read, they probably don't even need to read it. So we'll turn that off. Like you can't do anything. Tool usage record, same thing. Not letting it do anything. Course. Should anyone be able to create a course? In our case, courses are created by the admin. Admins use the database page to actually add data, and that bypasses every single permission. and that's only available to the editor of the project. So no create, no edit, no delete. Maybe you want them to count, or sum or max doesn't really hurt. And yeah, so that's that. And in terms of category, again, you don't want anyone to touch your data. So just the category itself, but they can read everything. Message, another system-defined table that we use for AI. Turn everything off. Purchase order, that's the table I was talking about, where you need to be able to read them, and you only need to look at your own orders probably, and then also the creation of purchase order should be controlled very tightly because it involves money. You should never trust any number that's derived from another piece of data from the front end. You can trust the front end to indicate that they want to buy a particular course with an ID, but you shouldn't trust them to tell you how much that course costs, because that data should come from the course itself inside the database. So we'll get rid of the create, get rid of the delete. We may want to let them count, but we don't really care that much. We may want them to sum or whatever. And in terms of a read, they should really only be able to read their own orders, not anyone else's. So in that case, logged in user's ID should be equal to the queried data, which is the purchase order itself, that guy's purchaser's ID, right? So you only can look at an order if you are the purchaser. Payment record, in this case, similarly, we add a row level security here, and we'll do queried data's accounts ID. So that's cool. And recurring payment, well, we don't have any, so we can like just turn it off. Refund, we don't have any, we can just turn it off. Third-party API, I only have a test one, which I don't really need, and it's called demo, so I'm gonna delete that. It's just noise. Let's go back. That's gone. Action flows, none of them except create order should be called by that person. And you can also set that you can only create order for yourself, which kind of makes sense. So you can only create orders whose account ID is equal to your own ID. AI, well, that's going to be somewhat similar, but I think we have an issue here because we don't really pass in the account ID here. So until we get that bug fixed, we will leave it empty. Payment, where there's no recurring payment, it's just one-time payment. But you can leave recurring payment enabled. It's just useless. Cool. So that's all we need to do for the logged in user. So those are the people that have logged in. And for people that they haven't logged in yet, they haven't registered, then we probably should remove even more of their permissions. For example, in terms of account, obviously you don't want them to be able to edit or count. In terms of read, maybe they shouldn't even be able to read the accounts either, because why would they need to look at them? You should also turn all these off because they don't need to touch your author table. Account has course. Well, since they don't have an account, we'll turn that off. They can't touch anything. They can count it, and that's necessary for this particular thing here. There's something weird going on here. Oh, sorry. That's the one. Let's fix it right away. The description should be a multi-line and the height is fit. So now we don't have that anymore. Cool. Created by somebody. And I forgot to bind that data. Created by. Let's bind that data. The course author's name. And now we have created by Yao Kai Zhang. Yay. And this is a bit odd. This is alignment is a bit off. So the alignment should be to the left or right? Top left, sorry. Yes, align to the left. Good. All right, let's go back to our permissions. Since we discovered some issues, we have fixed them. No action flows at all. They shouldn't be able to run anything. They're not touching our AIs. They're not touching any of our payments. And term author, that's correct. Account has course, only count. Conversation, no. Course, they're not able to create. No edit, no delete. Not even count. No sums. And they can read everything. That's harmless. Turn these off. No categories. They can't change the categories. Message, that's AI. They can't even run AI, so they shouldn't be able to touch anything. They should not look at anything to do with the purchase order. Payment record off, everything's off. Good. That is all the permission we need to set. So we have configured that people that have not logged in can only look at author, course, category, and that's basically it. These are essentially public data. These are for drawing people into our website, and then once they have logged in, and they can look at more things. They can look at tables that have a concept of belonging to a particular account, such as purchase order, and even account itself. And with that, that's the end of our entire tutorial. We might do more of these. Let us know in the comments what you think we should clarify even more, or are there topics that you want discussion? Thank you very much.